Jeremy Gresham, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. But I really appreciate you doing this because you and I met at the FEI golf event last summer, and then since then we've been able to build a great relationship and get to know each other really well. And the reason why I really wanted to have you here is because right now, with all this stuff going on with COVID, recession, whatever it is, um, I wanted to know from a CFO's perspective how all this is affecting the legal space, the world of law firms that we have in Chicago. So I appreciate your time, but just to get started with, I'd love for you to just tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So again, I'm currently the CFO of about an 80-person law firm here in Chicago. I've been their CFO for about 5 years. And before I got into law firms, I actually had a public accounting background. So I'd worked at Grant Thornton. I worked at another smaller public accounting firm called Thomas Havey, but I've been doing law firm accounting for 16 years now. So the biggest thing for law firms is that obviously we have to work with what happens to our clients. Nothing happens without our clients. So if we have clients in the hospitality or hotel space, we basically have to work with them to do what we can with them. If you're a law firm that's focused on litigation, you can't go to court. That slows a lot of things down. But then on the flip side of that, in employment, in banking and finance, in bankruptcy especially, they're as busy as they've ever been. And then the weird thing is we have a small IP practice at LP, and they're moving along like nothing's happened because, again, in the IP world, patents, trademarks, everything else still need to be filed. People are still coming up with new inventions, new ways of doing things, and that work continues on. So it's a weird mix of things. We have groups that are slow, we have groups that are busy, we have groups that are on pause because they can't do things.
Yeah.
So it's a strange balance.
So what do you, as a CFO of your firm right now, what's your main focus?
So really our main focus, after making sure everything was okay with everybody and that we could work from home, the main focus has just really been on information. We've changed around how we've reported on things. So we did a big project when this first started. We reached out to our main clients and basically just said, how are you doing? And what do you expect is going to happen? And so not even, how you can pay us or anything like that, nothing monetary. It was really, how are you doing and what's going on? Because the answers to that will help us plan. Because if we do have a restaurant client per se, we know that, we may have to do some work for them where we're not going to get paid till later. And that's fine. We may have some clients that say, you know what, most everything is fine for me. And so we can just plan what we're doing around what our clients are telling us.
Okay, so then what about, you mentioned something that I want to make sure I address. You said that where they can't pay you right now, where they can pay you later, right? And all the CFOs that I've talked to, the one thing that everything said you have to, the most common thing is cash is king and AR is important. So walk me through a little bit of that in terms of how you defined it right now with AR and companies not being able to pay their bills right now to you.
Sure. So when we talk to a company, obviously, again, first thing is, what's going on with your company? Because if they're a manufacturing company and, they're laying off people, obviously paying us is not their top priority. So we'll talk to them with, here's your balance, here's where things have been, here's, maybe the whole history of the client. And we'll just kind of work with them. And, maybe this client owes us $50,000. And today they'll tell us, we can pay you 10,000 every 2 weeks for the next month. So that gets us 20,000 out of 50. We'd love to have the 50,000. That'd be great. But we also have to be realistic on where they're at. So, we're not financing. We're not a lending. We're not, bank to anybody. But we'd much rather get, 10,000 5 times than get nothing for 6 months and then find out the client went bankrupt and then get nothing at all. So, the main thing though is most of our clients, they really do acknowledge, like, yes, you're doing this work for us. Yes, we know we need to pay you. Yes, we want to take care of our obligation to you. It's just, you need to work with us on how that's going to happen.
So that, I guess the way I think of that is just to make sure you have from AR, especially like clear communication and almost have them be better at problem solving and identifying different ways than ever before, right? Because of the situation.
Yeah. Yep. And I think it really is on the attorney sometimes to talk to the client, because so our main motto is no surprises. We don't ever want a client to get a bill and to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much this costs. So it's on our attorneys to talk to the client and say, hey, you told me to do this. This is expanded. I'm about to move into this expansion. Is that what you want me to do? I think it's even more important now. Sometimes attorneys will go off and they'll hear something in their head and they'll be like, oh, I have to go analyze every possible result because I need to make sure, if X happens, we're covered for this. Now with clients, and I mean, you should be doing this anyway, but now with clients even more so, you should be checking in and saying, okay, we talked about going this far. And if, you want me to go farther with this, I can, but now that's going to cost, whatever it is. And the client can now say, no, pause for a second. Let's not do that. I really only needed to get this far. Maybe we'll come back to this later, but for right now, we all agree that we need to be here. So, I mean, the biggest thing for us is we never want a client to feel like our attorneys just worked on something to work.
Got it.
There's value in everything that we do, that they can see the value, create, a client experience. And the main thing of that is to not be surprised by our bills.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes 100% sense. So I ask this to everyone that's on this. What's the advice that you have for your colleagues that are finance leaders in the law firm world right now?
You just got to be, you've got to be ready to adapt. I mean, I would have never thought, 12 weeks ago that I've had an entire staff working from home. You just need to be flexible.
Wait, are you telling me you never planned to have a pandemic that's worldwide where we couldn't step outside and everyone is working remote with the biggest recession in the history of the world? Are you saying you didn't know that before?
I did not have that in my 2020 plan. We do build a plan every year, and the firm has plans for, 18 months, 2 years, nothing really ever longer than 3 years, because that's probably not realistic. But no, this wasn't. But I mean, accountants and accounting by trade, you kind of know what you have every year. I have to close a month, I have to close a quarter, I have to issue financial statements, I have to do whatever. And there's kind of some reassurance in that, schedule that you've kind of built in your head. But right now, you've just got to be flexible, and you've got to, provide information and be able to kind of operate on the fly and figure out reports that you didn't even think about 6 months ago, because that may be the most important thing you need to look at right now.
Awesome. That sounds great. Really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. And I'm glad you and your family are doing well, you're healthy. We'll definitely catch up some other time. Hopefully, when we get to step back outside again. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate this. And I'll probably be posting this on LinkedIn in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.